Hey. Time for an out of this world story from rSpace. You ever notice how the ones who blow up your life always seem to circle back once you finally clean up the mess? Like clockwork, the same person who lit the match shows up holding a bucket of water, acting shocked there was a fire. Today on rSpace, nothing scares a manipulator more than losing the power to get a reaction. Wife cheated when I lost my job, said it's her right to live. I divorced her, and now she regrets it. I, 33 male, have been married to Wendy, 34 female, for 3 years. Have been together for 6 total. We had a pretty normal life. Had the usual arguments every couple has, money, chores, family visits, but nothing serious. We were planning a baby and also saving to buy our first house. The plan was to get pregnant this year and buy a house in the next 2 years so that the baby gets enough space to play and grow. Everything was going as per the plan. We got ourselves tested, we're eating healthy, working out, taking supplements, basically doing everything to conceive a healthy baby. Then, all of a sudden, I got to know that my company had been acquired by its competitors and almost all the employees were let go. I worked in a tech startup as a project lead for a software as a service product in mid-level management. Not some big Silicon Valley name, but it paid me well and made me feel stable. The salary gave us a comfortable life. Mortgage of 2 cars, saving for our house, a couple of vacations a year, and eating out when we feel like it. Not super luxurious, but we lived a pretty decent life where money was never a concern. When the layoff notice came, I honestly thought, I'll get something new within a few weeks. Everyone was saying the same thing. You'll find something quick. Man, tech people are always in demand. Yeah, not in this economy and not in every town. We live 65 miles away from Casper City. Here, most of the companies are startups of those that provide support to big companies. This was early 2023 when the AI wave started and the job market tanked. Almost all tech companies froze hiring. Companies that were hiring wanted to pay half of what I was used to making for the same dang work. I don't know what stigma the company associates with laid off employees. They think we're not good enough. I must have sent out over 100 applications in the first month. Heard back from maybe 10. Out of those, 2 interviews. Both rejections. At first, Wendy was supportive. She told me, "Don't worry, we'll figure it out." She even joked that maybe I'd find something remote and we could finally move somewhere cheaper, maybe in the mountains or in the woods. It was hopeful too. Bills don't stop just because your paycheck does. Our mortgage alone was eating a massive chunk of our savings. We had an emergency fund, but the emergency expenses started feeling endless. Soon we maxed out on our credit cards, groceries, utilities, car payments, all those little things that add up when you're used to living on 2 solid incomes. I started cutting back on everything. Canceled streaming services, paused the gym membership, and stopped eating out completely. Wendy didn't like that. She needed some normalcy. Was like, "But I'm slogging my butt off at work. I need to unwind, need to relax." I understand she didn't want to compromise on her lifestyle because she didn't lose her job. I did. The thing is, my job paid for our luxuries, and we had cut down on that. I kept applying for jobs nonstop. Days blurred together. My daily routine was to wake up, send resumes, tweak cover letters, scroll through job boards, repeat. I felt like I was shouting into a void. Rejections became a part of my day. The worst part was the silence when companies just didn't even bother replying. Every time I got a "thank you for your interest but" email, it chipped away at me. I started feeling like maybe I wasn't good enough, like I'd peaked. Wendy tried to hide it, but I could tell she was losing it by the second month. The way she sighed when I mentioned another rejection, or how she'd ask, "So what's the plan now?" In that tone, half concern, half frustration. She worked as a receptionist in a small agency. It wasn't a bad job, but didn't pay much. Barely enough to cover groceries and utilities. She started picking up extra shifts, which I appreciated, but it also meant she was gone more. Then one night, we made the hardest decision. We decided not to have a baby now. It was devastating. We'd been planning it for months. We even started making changes around the house, talking about names, browsing baby cribs online. Now, we have to pause it because we can't afford a kid right now. We cannot bring a child into this world while being broke. She cried, said she really wanted the baby, and with age, it might become difficult later. She wasn't wrong. She cried when we took this decision, said I should stop being picky and that something was better than nothing. I felt like I was the reason our future was suddenly on hold. I kept telling myself It was just temporary, and soon I would turn the tables around, but weeks turned into months. By the third month, her tone had completely shifted. Every time I passed on a job that was beneath my pay grade or expertise, she would roll her eyes and say, "Beggars can't be choosers." By month 4, I stopped being picky and started applying for anything that paid a livable wage. Retail, call centers, data entry, whatever came up. That's how I ended up in sales. A friend of mine told me his company was hiring account reps for a tech product. It sounded decent on paper, base pay plus commissions. Some remote work. I told myself it would be temporary, just until I landed something back in tech. God, I wasn't prepared for how much I'd hate it. If you've never done sales, it's hard to explain how demoralizing it can be. In tech, even when things went wrong, you were solving problems. There was structure and logic. In sales, it's just endless talking, chasing, persuading, and more often than not, being ignored. My job was cold calling small businesses, pitching them software they didn't need or couldn't afford. I was hired because I understood tech, and I had to pitch the executives. You spend 8 hours a day dialing numbers, reading the same script, trying to sound cheerful while people hang up on you mid-sentence. Half the time, they don't even let you finish your name. The other half, they curse at you for calling during lunch. I started measuring my days by rejection. A good day was when someone didn't yell at me. At first, I tried to psych myself up. It's just temporary. Keep pushing. Stay positive. But it eats at you, hearing no 100 times a day, especially when you used to manage products and lead teams. Now you're begging strangers to listen for 30 seconds before they hang up. I'd get off work mentally tired. The pay was barely enough to cover the bills, and the commission was a joke. Still, I stuck with it. I couldn't afford not to. Wendy didn't say much those first few weeks. She'd just look at my slumped shoulders, eyes red from staring at a screen all day, and say, "You look tired." Yeah, I was, from swallowing my pride. The paychecks helped a little bit, but we were still underwater. The mortgage still loomed, credit cards still maxed. I started paying minimums just to keep collectors away. Everything in our lives became about money. Every choice, every argument. She'd come home talking about her day, coworkers, office gossip, and dinners after work. I tried to listen, but inside I was unraveling. I hated my job. I hated waking up, dreading another day of fake smiles and mean customers on the other end. And I hated feeling like she looked at me differently now. We'd argue about stupid things, takeout, groceries, and bills. Once, she got mad because I bought the wrong laundry detergent. I snapped back, told her she could do the dang laundry herself if it mattered that much. We didn't talk for 2 days after that. It wasn't about the detergent, obviously. It was everything else. What really started breaking us, though, wasn't the money. It was the silence. We stopped talking the way we used to. She'd come home from work, eat dinner in front of the TV, and scroll through her phone. I'd try to make small talk. "How was your day?" And she'd just shrug. "Fine." That was it. We used to laugh a lot. Inside jokes, little moments. Now the house just felt quiet. Then she started staying late at work. At first she said it was because they were short-staffed. I believed her, but then it became every other day. Then most days. She'd text, "Working late, don't wait up." I don't want to be that guy, the insecure husband accusing his wife of something without proof, so I didn't say anything. It still bothered me. I'd sit there at night, staring at the clock, wondering where she was. When she'd finally get home, it was always the same story. "Had dinner with coworkers. We were just unwinding. Everyone from the clinic went." I'd nod, say, "Okay," and pretend to sleep. I've started noticing other small things. She'd dress nicer for work, wear more makeup. She said she just wanted to look more put together. Maybe she does. Maybe I'm paranoid. But when you're already on edge, everything starts looking suspicious. We had a fight about money one night that got ugly. It started because I transferred some savings to pay the rent. She said I should have talked to her first. I said I did what I had to do to keep a roof over our heads. Then she said, "We're broke because you couldn't find a better job." I swear these words hit harder than anything else she's ever said. I just stood there, stunned. I'd been busting my butt every day, killing myself at a job that barely pays the bills, and she threw that in my face. I told her she had no idea what it felt like to send out hundreds of applications and get ignored. She said maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. That night, I slept on the couch. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened, made herself coffee, scrolled through her phone, didn't even talk to me. I think that hurt even more. Since then, things have just drifted. We still live together, but it doesn't feel like a marriage anymore. She's always busy. I'm always tired. We barely touch each other. The last time we had sex was months ago. When I tried to talk about it, she said, "I'm just stressed. We're fighting all the time. It's not exactly romantic." She's right. We are fighting all the time. About money mostly. About how everything's different now. She says we wouldn't be like this if we weren't broke. I'm trying. I'm still applying to tech jobs every week, but I can't afford to quit my current one. I don't even have time to interview properly because my shifts are ended late. I feel trapped. Like every day is the same loop of exhaustion and resentment. I miss my wife, but I don't even know if she misses me. How do I handle the situation? I'm sure there would be a lot of you who are or have been in this chaos. How do you sail through it? Update 1. Things took a steep turn from where I left my post. Last week something happened that's been gnawing at me. She left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. It constantly buzzed. I glanced at it. It was a text from a guy named Eric, work. It said, "Free tomorrow night?" I didn't touch it. I just stared at the screen until it went dark. When she came back, I didn't say anything. I wanted to, but I didn't know how to bring it up without sounding like a jealous idiot. The next day, she told me she was going out with the office team for dinner. I thought maybe that Eric guy was just a coworker organizing the dinner, checking everyone's availability. While my career and everything else were going downhill, I didn't want to overthink that my marriage was also on the line. I threw myself into work even harder. I also took up another job in warehouse as inventory supervisor. Took shifts in the evening and weekends. I told myself if I could just catch up on the mortgage and knock down the credit cards, maybe we could breathe again. My days started at 6 a.m. and ended at midnight. Work, eat, shower, collapse, repeat. Wendy barely noticed, or if she did, she didn't say anything. We were two ghosts passing each other in the same house. She'd come home later and later, sometimes after I was already asleep. On the rare days I had off, she'd make excuses to be out, errands, girl time, or helping her mom. I wanted to believe her, but I felt uneasy. One Friday night, my second job called off a shift last minute. I didn't tell Wendy. Wanted to do something nice for her. Earlier, I used to pick her up with flowers, and she loved it. I wanted to recreate it and showed up at her workplace with a rose. Thought to take her out for dinner. I went inside and found her coworker at the reception. The conversation that followed was very peculiar. I asked her, "Where's Wendy?" "She left." I asked when. "Her shift ends at 7, right?" "I don't know. I'm not her manager." I said, "But you both work at the reception. How can you not know her shift?" She gave me a look and informed that Wendy got promoted to a back office executive 2 months ago. I was so embarrassed that I didn't say anything and came out. I didn't even call her. She had left the office but wasn't at home. Evidently, she must be somewhere else. I started digging out. We have joint accounts, but we also each have our own small checking accounts for personal spending. Hers is tied to our online banking, but she rarely uses it. I logged into her account and found a deposit that was a lot higher than usual. It was a bonus she had received during the promotion. It was a huge one, and she hid it from me. Not only that, she got a raise, and now she makes 1.5 times of what she used to make earlier. Still didn't contribute a penny more. Now she was making the same as me. Still, the split was 70-30 between us. I didn't know what to think. She's been complaining about being broke, about how tight things were. She's been making me feel guilty every time I said we needed gas money or groceries. And here she was, hiding a bonus and a raise. She was also transferring money from her account to another savings account, which I didn't know existed. She was quietly building her safety net to exit. At 9:45, I texted her asking her when she would be back. She replied she was doing double shift, covering her for her coworker. Her lie was exposed. She got home a little before midnight. Makeup perfect, hair done, not tired. When she went to the shower, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A new necklace. A small silver pendant. Not something she'd buy for herself. She never cared about jewelry. When she came out, I asked her about it. She brushed it off as, "One of the girls at work gave it to me." Her tone was too casual. I didn't confront her that night. Waited to gather as much evidence as possible. The next day she went to work and the receptionist had already told everyone that I came looking for Wendy, and I had no clue that she was promoted. That evening she came back home furious at me, asked me why I didn't call her before showing up, why I didn't tell her about my visit. I told her I knew about the bonus and had seen the deposit. She didn't even look guilty. Instead, she rolled her eyes and said, "So what? I earned it. I don't have to report every penny to you." I said, "We're drowning in debt." That I'd been working myself to death while she's been lying. She shrugged. You're the one who lost your job. I'm not going to suffer forever because of that. I swallowed all my emotions and asked if it was Eric. You know I struggled calling his name. My throat dried. She sighed a deep one and then goes, Well, I cannot waste my life hoping you'd get back on track. She didn't deny it. Means it was true. It was so devastating that I just got numb. I was already at the lowest point in my life, and now this. She tried to justify. It's so frustrating to come home to someone who's always tired and miserable. I'm allowed to have a life too. I almost cried, saying that I was trying to fix things, that I was doing everything I could. The cry was not to beg her, but it was out of my helplessness. She laughed. She actually did, and said, Then fix it faster. Get a better job. Until then, I'm living my life. You have a problem with it? Go out and earn. Her entitlement made me sick. I screamed. So I slogged my butt off, 14 hours a day, putting everything together, and you F around with zero remorse? Instead of being guilty, she screamed back at me. So what are you going to do? Divorce me? Do you have the money? Can you afford a lawyer? I swallowed my pride. She was right. I can't afford a divorce. Like a loser, I picked up my blanket and moved to the other room. She smirked, giving me a look like you're not allowed to have self-respect when you're broke. Since then, I'm looking for a divorce lawyer and the process. It is indeed expensive. I'm speaking to my friends and coworkers who have been through it and gather as much info as possible. I have also stopped contributing more to the house. We have a joint account for the household expenses. Earlier, I was putting in 70% of the share of it. The month I have put in only half the rent, utilities, bills, and eating only takeouts. She asked me who's going to pay for the remaining. I said, You make the same as me now. She bit her tongue, stomped her foot, and went away. I have also pulled out my share from the savings. She lost her mind, but I said I don't have my second job and I have to pay my car mortgage. I also told her that her car mortgage was on her now. She obviously didn't take this well. Now, half of the rent and other utilities is on her, which means she essentially has to pay more. Earlier, her contribution was only 30%. Her mortgage and food were on me. Now it's 50-50. I'm saving money for my second job to hire a lawyer. I'm broke but not spineless. Divorce is inevitable, sooner or later. Meanwhile, she's living her guilt-free life. This weekend, I was getting ready for my second job when I heard a car honking outside. She leaned outside the window and said, 5 minutes. Then she quickly slipped into a casual dress, stuffed her essentials into a small bag, and rushed outside like a teenager, beaming with excitement. I peeped through the window to see there were 2 guys inside the car. She went and sat in the front, hugged the guy at the wheel. She'd given me an attitude of, I'll do whatever I want. Suck it up or leave. It's humiliating and painful, but what can I do? Except be patient and plan my exit. I don't have a choice. She's lying about promotions, hiding money, sleeping around, and laughing in your face while you're busting your butt at 2 jobs? Nah, you're not her husband anymore. You're her safety net and emotional punching bag. Time to get the ropes. Forget waiting for the right moment or hoping she'll wake up one day and feel bad. She won't. People who can look you in the eye after saying, then fix it faster, while they're sneaking out to see someone else, don't do remorse. You already said it yourself. You're broke, not spineless. Update 2. I know it's been a while. Hold on. There's a lot to unpack. Firstly, I owe this community big time. Thanks for your guidance and kind words. Your comments and DMs help me cope in my worst time. Also, after my last post, a lot of attorneys from this community DM'd me for guidance and referred me to pro bono lawyers whom I could access for free. So here I am now, finally going through the process and breaking free from my toxic marriage. As you guys suggested, I started documenting every dang thing. The way she was blowing her money on new clothes, new bags, accessories. I found dinner receipts lying on the table from places we used to go on dates. Meanwhile, I was still splitting my back between 2 jobs, eating ramen in the car between shifts. Sometimes, I would tear up thinking when I used to get a bonus. I would always take her shopping, get her gifts, but when she got one, she sidelined me. I don't know if you've ever felt that specific kind of rage. The kind where your chest feels too small for your heart. The kind that eats you alive. I didn't give up. No matter how difficult it was, I still got up and worked hard. My only motivation was to get out of this marriage. The lawyer assigned to me helped me unpack the consequences. As long as it was uncontested, it would be cheap. There was nothing to contest about. I had the evidence that she was earning as much as my day job. I quit my second job and it made our gross pay equal. Savings? We had already pulled our parts. She saw no merit in me, so why would she resist? She didn't. When I served her, she laughed, was like, "You still have self-respect left? Impressive." Meanwhile, I had already found a smaller studio apartment for myself. I kept it aside my essentials, clothes, gadgets, and documents. Everything else I put up for sale. Every dang thing. The couch, the chair, the kitchen appliances, all were bought by me. I had the bill for everything in my mail. My lawyer said if I can prove I bought it with my own card, I can sell it. When she saw me taking pictures of them, she panicked, saying all these were marital properties and I'll have to share the money with her. I didn't reply. I realized I won't be able to sell them when she's around, so I waited for her to leave the house for some hours. Wasn't a big deal. She was now taking trips regularly, almost every weekend. Some hiking or shopping spree downtown. She always had plans. The following weekend, she went camping with her friends. I immediately packed all the items and shipped them to my new place, and then uploaded them for resale. Yes, I had to pay shipping charges, but it was better than sharing it with her. When she came back from her trip to an almost vacant house, she lost it, called me. I ignored. She sent me various desperate voicemails. "Where's all the stuff? Did you move out? Who's going to pay the rent? You can't take away everything. I owned it too." I replied that I had moved out. The lease is now in her name. The owner would send an updated one shortly. She obviously called me names. Then a few hours later, she sent me another text asking if I could move back in until the divorce was closed, or at least until she figures out a smaller place because she cannot afford the rent of the current one alone. I didn't reply. Didn't owe her one. It has been peaceful since then, just waiting for the divorce to end up quickly. Update 3. The divorce is final. Didn't imagine it would be so liberating. Yes, I've been waiting for it for a long time. I didn't think it would happen that fast, but I guess when one person stops giving a dang, there's nothing left to fight over. When her cheating came out, I felt so humiliated and small. After I moved out, she assumed I'd crawl back once I realized how expensive being alone would be. What she didn't realize was I'd been alone long before I left. My lawyer, absolute godsend, handled everything cleanly. I had proof of her income, her hidden account, her bonus, everything. The lawyer drafted the paperwork so neatly that even if she wanted to contest, she had no leverage. She's made it clear through her own messages that she wanted her freedom. From there, things started rolling fast. She didn't want to pay her own lawyer because, of course, she assumed I'd be forced to handle the legal mess. Joke's on her. I didn't have to. My lawyer made sure the settlement was airtight. Since our incomes were now roughly equal, neither of us owed spousal support. The savings had been split before filing, and since I'd already moved out and had proof I paid for almost every item in that house, she couldn't claim them as marital property. I even had digital receipts from years back showing my card details. Every couch, every chair, every appliance had my name tied to it. She tried one last card, claiming emotional distress and that I'd abandoned her. My lawyer shut it down with timestamps showing she was already seeing someone else during the marriage. I didn't even need to show the necklace or the texts. Her promotion timeline, her financial moves, and the shift in behavior told the story. The court didn't entertain her demand. When the decree came through, I felt like a lifetime of weight lifted off my chest. Marriage dissolved, no alimony, no shared assets. Each party retains personal property. Some time back, I drove past the old house just out of curiosity, saw it was dark and empty. She had also moved out, couldn't keep up with the rent and moved into a small apartment closer to her job. Money's still tight for me, but at least now every dollar went where I wanted it to go. I've started budgeting differently, cut back on everything I don't need. The studio apartment is way cheaper than the old house. No one complains about detergent brands or groceries. I have started cooking again. There's something therapeutic about it. Sitting at my small table, eating a simple meal I made for myself. Feels so much better. I still have my sales job. I've started getting better at it because I stopped being ashamed of it. Work is work. Dignity isn't tied to job titles. I'm still applying for tech positions though, but I stopped making it the center of my self-worth. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone anymore. It's funny how I used to think divorce was the sign of failure. All those nights I blamed myself, thought I wasn't enough, thought I'd ruined our life. I see now how much I gave, how much I tried, and how little she cared to meet me halfway. Recently, I got to know that her affair didn't last long with the affair partner. His wife found out, and somehow he convinced her that it was just a fling. She made him break up with Wendy and also transfer to a different location. Initially, I was surprised to know that his wife forgave him, but then I got to know the full story. She's his second wife. He was already married with 2 kids when this woman came into his life. Affair partner came from a solid financial background. This woman got him wrapped around her finger, and he divorced his first wife and abandoned his kids for her. What a dog the affair partner is. Karma hit this woman when affair partner cheated on her with Wendy, but she was not like his first wife. She threatened to bring him to the streets if he divorces her. He had to do whatever she told him to. I laughed at this story when a mutual friend told me. This woman called up Wendy and threatened her to stay away from her affair partner if she wanted her limbs to be intact in her body. My ex messed up with the wrong person. Recently, I heard she tried dating another coworker for a bit, but that fizzled too. Her misery doesn't give me joy, which made me realize I'd healed. Probably this is my last update. Thanks for supporting me all throughout. Update 4. So, there's good news. I thought to share it to this community since you guys have been such a rock support for me. I got a job in tech. It's kind of a dream job I've always wanted to be. After everything was settled, I kept my head down at the sales job. I won't lie, there were still bad days, rejections, rude clients, endless hang-ups, but I started approaching it differently. Instead of hating it, I tried it like training. Every no built my patience. Every pitch honed my communication. Slowly, I started closing more deals. I even got a small raise after hitting my quarterly target. Around that time, I stumbled on an online post about tech certifications which helped in placements. I'd been out of the field for almost a year and a half, but tech moves fast. What I knew before wasn't enough anymore. That post said something that stuck with me. Your skills aren't obsolete, they're just paused. It hit me. I realized I'd been waiting for luck, when what I really needed was effort in the right direction. So I started small. Nights after work, I'd open YouTube tutorials and free learning platforms. Weekends were for practice labs and mock projects. I started learning about cloud architecture and data pipelines, things I'd only brushed past during my old tech days. It was rough. After 9 hours of work, the last thing I wanted was to stare at more screens, but I kept reminding myself, this was my way out. Eventually, I paid for a certification course. Money was tight, so I used a payment plan. I'd study late into the night, sipping black coffee and jotting notes on sticky pads stuck all over the wall. That tiny studio became my command center. It reminded me of my college dorm, like I was rebuilding from scratch. I passed my certification exam in one go. I remember sitting there, staring at the congratulations message on the screen, and just exhaling. It was the first time in a long while I felt proud of myself. No one to share it with, no one to post about it for. Just me. I added the certification to my resume and started updating my LinkedIn. I felt awkward, like reintroducing myself to a world. I wasn't the same guy as before. I wasn't desperate anymore, but ready. The job search this time felt different. I felt more confident. I knew what I wanted, and I knew what I could bring to the table. My communication and negotiation skills were honed due to my sales job. I wasn't applying everywhere blindly. I targeted specific companies looking for my skill set. I tailored my resume for each one. I didn't rush. Patience had become my sharpest skill. In June, I got my first interview with a mid-tier IT firm. I nailed the technical round, but they went with someone else. Strangely, I wasn't crushed. I took it as practice. I kept going. By August, I'd done 5 interviews. Then, one day, an email popped up. We'd like to move forward with your application. It was from a global company, a name I used only to dream about working for when I was in my old tech job. They wanted to interview me for a cloud solutions engineer role. The process was brutal. 5 rounds over 2 weeks. Technical case study, system design, behavioral, management, all of it. Something had changed in me. I didn't walk into that interview desperate. I walked in grounded. I wasn't trying to prove I was worthy. I already knew I was. I just needed the right place to show it. When they asked about the gap in my career, I didn't lie. I told them straight, I got laid off. Life hit hard, but I kept learning. I told them about working 2 jobs, about resilience, about rebuilding. I remember the hiring manager leaning back and saying, "That's grit. We value that here." I didn't realize it then, but that was the moment I'd already won them over. A week later, I got the offer letter. I read it 3 times before it sank in. The pay was double my last tech job salary. Full benefits, remote flexibility, relocation allowance. Everything I used to think was out of reach. I sat there at my small kitchen table, same spot I used to eat ramen, and cry. It was like the universe waited until I'd shed every piece of my old life before giving me something new. I started the job in September. It was the same time last year when I got divorced. Financially, things started turning around. I've cleared off the last of my credit card debt, paid off my car, even started investing again. This weekend, I upgraded my apartment and moved to a single-bedroom apartment to a nice neighborhood. Sometimes, when I look back at the year that changed everything, I realize how close I was to breaking. If you told me back then that I'd end up here, working for a top global company, debt-free, sleeping peacefully, I'd have laughed. But here I am, a full circle. The irony isn't lost on me. If I had gotten this job before divorce, I probably would have had to pay alimony. But life timed it perfectly. I got the job after the divorce, after I rebuilt myself. Sometimes, you don't realize it in the moment, but everything really does happen at the right time, in the right order. If you're reading this and going through something similar, job loss, betrayal, heartbreak, I won't give you cliches. I'll just say this: you'll survive. You'll hurt like hell. You'll question everything. But if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the small things right, you'll come out of it stronger and wiser. It's a wrap up now. Thanks for cheering for me. Update 5. Woohoo! I keep coming back to this post. Life is full of surprises. So, I was busy living my new life, actually enjoying every bit of it peacefully, but today, the calm broke. I was halfway through a client call when I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. Thought it was delivery, or maybe maintenance. When I opened the door, there she was, the ex-wife, standing there like a ghost. For a second, my brain didn't register. She looked different, thinner. Her hair was now shorter with dark roots showing. The spark she used to carry even in anger was gone. Her eyes looked tired. She forced a smile and said, "Hey," as if we were old friends bumping into each other. I stared at her in disbelief and then said the only thing that came out naturally: "What are you doing here?" She looked down, fidgeted with her bag strap, and said she just wanted to talk, that she'd been thinking about things. I didn't move. She asked if she could come in. I hesitated. Every part of me screamed no, but somehow I still let her in. Maybe I wanted to show her what she missed. She walked in and looked around the house. Saw my fancy MacBook set up with an external monitor, latest iPad on the desk. She forced a smile and said, "You really did it." I just nodded. "Heard you're making huge." I smiled. She sat down on the couch. I was still standing. Asked her why she was here. She calmly responded, "Please to hear me out. We were married once. For that sake, let's be civil." I said, "I am. That's why you're sitting here." She took a deep breath and started in a rehearsed tone. "I've been through a lot since, after everything happened." She talked about how the apartment she'd moved into after the divorce was too expensive, and she had to move again. How her partner's wife tortured and mentally abused her. She even hunted her down at the gym and tried to punch her. She somehow escaped. How things changed at her job after her affair and eventually breakup came out. People started treating me differently, like I was some kind of joke. I listened quietly without feeling anything at all. She said she was sorry for how she treated me. I'm not sure if that came from a place of regret or from the realization that she lost a better life in search of temporary happiness. She said, "I know I made mistakes, but our condition freaked me out. Everything was falling apart, and I panicked." I almost laughed. Panic? Do people cheat when they're in panic? She was expecting empathy, but I just asked her coldly, "What do you want?" She hesitated, then whispered, "I just wanted to see you. Wanted to tell you that I miss you. I miss us." That hit differently because hearing "us" from her mouth after everything she did felt like it was mocking me. I said, "There is no us anymore. That ended the day you cheated and said you had a right to live your life." Her face dropped, defeated. "I didn't mean it like that." I said, "You meant it exactly like that. You were clear. You didn't want to be stuck with a husband who was struggling. You wanted a better life and freedom. You got it. So why are you here now?" She took a deep breath and said the words I knew were coming. "Because I made a mistake. I'm sorry." Saying this, she broke down and started howling. She looked around, probably realizing how comfortable and steady I was in this new life. I was no longer the person she had left. I wasn't bitter or broken or waiting for an apology. She whispered, "You've changed." I replied, "Yeah, I had to." She said, "My apology also doesn't matter to you now." For most of her questions, I either remained silent or just nodded. She got defensive, said I was being cold, that I couldn't just erase 6 years of relationship just like that. "I stood by you when you lost your job. When things were falling apart, I was there for you, supported you. Your constant tiredness and bad mood wore me off. Affair partner was just a distraction to keep me sane. I never wanted to leave you. I didn't leave you. You did. I wanted a baby when you couldn't afford it. I let go of that too. You know how painful it was for me. I let her rant and self-praise. She tried changing tactics. She said she'd been depressed, that she didn't know how to handle things, that she got manipulated by Eric. Apparently, he brainwashed her into thinking that I was a loser and her life would be stuck if I stayed. She pleaded, "Please say something. I can't take your silence." Finally, I opened my mouth. What's the point of discussing all this now? We're divorced, and that chapter is all over for me. My calmness bothered her. It was like, "Why aren't you angry at me? Shouting at me? Tell me what's in your heart." I said, "My heart has no place for you anymore. No emotions at all. Not even anger. I have moved on from my past." She looked at me and asked, "Are you seeing someone?" I almost cracked up. She smiled a little, like she found hope in that. I told her that moving on doesn't mean finding another woman. I had moved on from my marriage. I don't want to go to that state ever again. That wiped her smile off. She looked like she wanted to argue but couldn't find words. Her eyes watered. "So that's it?" I nodded. She sat there for a while, trying to gather herself. I stood near the door, hinting at her to leave. She said she didn't expect me to forgive her right away, that she just wanted to keep in touch, maybe meet for coffee sometimes. I said no. That chapter was closed, and I would never want to reopen it. She wiped her tears, nodded slowly, and stood up. She walked to the door, then turned around and said, "You really won't ever forgive me, will you?" I said, "I already did that. That's how I have moved on." She looked confused for a second, like she didn't understand what forgiveness without reconciliation meant. Then she left. I felt a deep sense of calmness and closure. I think this is my revenge. Not the misery or humiliation she went through from a affair partner's wife, nor the struggle she's going through, but this. My indifference to her situation. The way her presence didn't matter to me. How my calmness bothered her. How I had moved on, and she was still stuck. That's the biggest revenge for me. So that's it. I have her now. Thanks for your support. I hope this is my last update, for the third time. Let's be honest, she didn't come for closure. She came because the circus she ran off to burned down, and now she's sniffing around to see if the safety net she shredded is somehow still intact. It's always the same script with people like her. Cheat, lie, humiliate you publicly, and then circle back months later pretending to be reflective. No, she's not remorseful. She's regretful. Regretful that you turned out fine without her. Regretful that her little fantasy with Mr. Sidepiece didn't turn into the grand love story she imagined. Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.